When you've got routine,
Right?
you've got chore, you lose that sense of playfulness. You lose that sense of seduction.
When last did you feel that sense of erotica?
Joy, welcome to Jeannieous. Welcome to my home. So lovely having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to chatting to you.
Me too. You are such a prolific voice in the feminist and gender equality space. Tell us a little bit about your feminist journey.
I work as a feminist researcher and writer. Predominantly it's as a researcher, but I try to bring a focus on centering women and girls into that work. You know, my journey is about how to dream of creating a different kind of world, one in which there's more social equity and one in which we think about what works to enhance the quality of life of women and girls.
The word feminist has so often been misunderstood, misconstrued. What would be your definition of the current space or the current word feminist? What is a feminist? What does it mean?
So, you know, I think that there was certainly a time where there were these connotations of the bra burners, that was a really bad word, and in some places it still very much is. But what I find super sexy is that in our country, like, there's a generation of young people, young women in particular, who have embraced this word. And in embracing it, like, what they're seeking to do is live the best kind of lives that they can live, to have equal opportunities, but to also, importantly, assert their voices, to be heard, to be seen. When we look at what's going on in the world, like in Trumpland, where there's a backlash on gender rights.
Even in South Africa, gender-based violence is just so mind-bogglingly bad at the moment.
It's awful, right? And like when we look at the world, and I truly think, though, that there is something about what's happening, particularly with our young women, where they're savvy and smart and politically conscious, and they're wanting to change the world.
That's amazing. And you certainly aren't someone who's going to be silenced anytime soon. You wrote an essay titled "Pussies Are Not for Grabbing." Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, it was such an interesting thing at the time when Trump has been elected as president. I don't know if you recall that there were these posters that went viral, like women took to the streets, and not just in the US. Those women marched with vengeance and with anger, not believing that we could come to a place where the US has elected somebody who hates women. And so my story was about how that is such a dangerous sentiment that I recalled a story of going to a doctor as a child, where the doctor had asked that my mom wait on the outside. And
What?
Yes.
How old were you?
I must have been about 9.
And the doctor didn't want your mom in the examination
He didn't
room?
want my mom in the examination room, and I was ill. I had a viral infection, and he had said to me, he had checked everything out and looked inside my mouth, and then he said to me, so you need to take your panties off. And I just thought he was looking for a virus, because, like, as I said, not too smart then. And it was as I came into being around 18 years old, where I look back on this memory and realized that what he had done was an act of sexual violation. And so the story of Pussies Are Not for Grabbing is very much about saying no to that.
Wehy do women not trust their instincts? Because we know when they're right.
We do. I think that it's because of the normalization of the narrative that we're not smart, we don't necessarily know what's going on. I mean, we live within a very gendered social order, that where the media, everything, social norms, how our families, our communities operate, internalize a message of doubt yourself.
I also want to know about your novel, The Other Me. How did that come about?
Weirdly enough, it was in COVID, where my dad was dying in a hospital where I didn't have access to him, and I desperately needed a place to escape to, and so that creative world of stepping into something that I could create, where I was in charge, where I could unleash something, was how that novel was born. And it became a very special time to me, because this book got me through. 2 weeks ago, signed a book deal.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, for a piece that I'm busy writing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about what it is, but I want to come back here and talk about what it is, because it's super exciting.
That's fantastic. You definitely are a woman who's in your power and owning it. I know at the Literary Festival, Justine and I were chatting to you about, being a woman in your 40s. And what happens is you basically, and it happens to all of us, you get a feeling of feeling redundant. invisible.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for women and all of our fabulous geniuses on being in your power, holding on to your sexuality, your sensuality, and staying in that feminine space?
There's this juxtapositioning as we get older that on the one hand, I know part of me wants my 20-year-old body back and the way I look at it, right? Can we have that? But I do not want to be that person. She was so deeply vulnerable. So there's something beautiful about getting older and how we step into ourselves and kind of claim our power. I think that my message is to find the erotic within you as a very powerful, provocative resource that we all have, but we become so deeply fearful of.
Please teach us how we're going to tap into that. How do we tap into that sexy?
This is everything. Because I think in our society where you've talked about the gender-based violence levels being so high, we so often used to thinking our bodies are as sites of violence and potential sites of violence. So we internalize that sense of fear. It's internalized. You won't walk around at night at 9 o'clock. And so what we're losing that is the sense of our bodies as a site of pleasure and the erotic. And by this I mean coming together, that sweet nexus point of when you are feeling fully, and there's the intersection between the physical, the intellectual, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so it goes beyond the physical. It's about how do you live your life where you are unleashing the power of the erotic, not just in your physical interactions with a lover, but where you're able to read a poem and it does something for you. You're able to step into the sun.
Daily life, when you've got routine, you've got chore, you lose that sense of playfulness. You lose that sense of seduction.
When last did you feel that sense of erotica? And how was it good?
I'm newly married, so
it's every day.
So I've still got that going.
I'm very happy for you.
Long may it last. But thank you so much for coming to visit us. We cannot wait to see what you've got in the wings and what your next beautiful piece of writing is. Congratulations on your new book signing, and we can't wait to have you back.
Congratulations on the new marriage and on weight loss. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.